Hello viewers, George here with another tutorial about how to make 3D map boards. As many of you have seen on Facebook, I've been making these to pass some time. They're an excellent hobby. So let's get right to it. So the first step that you need to do is print out your map board twice. So as you can see here, I have a set here. And this set here has most of the boundary cut out, so up to the edge hex side, and this one does not. Now, one set will be used to create the actual base, and this will be for the relief features. Let's go on to the next slide. Step 2. So I took out the set that had most of the border cut out except for one piece. So on one of the two pieces you leave a white border, and that will this piece here will overlap over the white piece, and you need to align the hexes, to align the features. And you can use either I like to use either thinned white glue or a glue stick to stick them together. Let's go on to step 3. Okay, so step 3, you take that map board, the two map boards that you aligned perfectly, and you trace an outline on your foam board. I like to start with a fresh piece of foam board so I can make sure that there will be a foam board below each of the map edges. Okay. As you can see, basically what I did here is, if you can see this little cross and these edges, I kind of marked the edges, each of the edges of the map board, and used a straight edge to draw the lines. And I'm going to use again the straight edge with an X-Acto knife to cut out the base. So once you've cut out a perfect base, you need to glue down the base map to the foam board. I like to use, as you can see, a glue stick to do this, and you need to be careful. Now, with glue sticks, it gives you some room for error if you haven't aligned the edges correctly. And what I like to do is start with a quarter of the map board, and then slowly spread the glue around and make sure I evenly set the base so there's no bubbles. Now, what I've done with this map board that I did do with the others is I left both pieces of bonded paper that the foam board comes with onto this base, whereas before I tried to lighten it up by taking out one of the two pieces of paper. I find that this method works better, and there's not as much warpage as before. Okay, next step, step 6. This is not foam board. This is the map where I did leave the white border. And this is the map where I used to cut out the features that I'm going to paste onto the base. And now I'm using an example of a hill that has 2 levels and woods on it. Because basically what this entails is that you need to cut out the outline as if the other features were not there. So the level 1 outline has to be cut free of those features, but when you ultimately cut it on the foam board, you'll see that you need to leave space to glue on top the trees here. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, step 7. Now this foam board here has been cleared of the 2 sheets of paper that it came with from the store. And I'm gluing my paper cutouts directly on foam board, no paper involved. I did have some islands of paper here, but they didn't bother with this particular cutout, and I figured out a workaround. So if there's little islands, you need to splice them with an X-Acto knife before you use the hot wire cutter to cut your features. Now, other people have simply used a hot X-Acto knife to cut their features. Whatever works best for you. Like I've said in my other video, what I do is cut my features out with a hot wire cutter, a cheap one at that I bought from the craft store. Let's see what's next. So here I am. I've actually cut out the first level of the hill, and as you can see, I cut out the features on top of the hill, but I left the foam board there so I can glue the second level features on top of my base, or on top of my first level. Let's just take a look and see how this works. I turn it on, and I'm cutting out now the second level hill hexes. And by the way, these were made large enough to fit the counters. It looks like John Hill intended this game to be for miniatures, but ultimately they opted for hex and counter. Otherwise, a base that's equal in size to the hexes would fit. I'm not too sure what I just said, but I'll explain probably in another video. And there you go, more or less. There's another step before you end up doing that, but see how easy it is using a hot wire cutter. Let's take a look now on what is your next step. I think it's 10 easy steps that I have here. Oops. Yeah, your next step would be to, as you can see, there are white outlines on the foam cutouts that you've made. So for houses, wooden houses, I use brown Sharpies. For stone walls, I use gray Sharpies. Anything wooden, you can use a light green and a dark green. And if you're using Sharpies, it's good to have a bold Sharpie and a fine tip Sharpie. The fine tip allows you to go into areas that are narrow, and you can also accentuate details. Now, for walls, what I do is I put down a base of gray, as you can see here, and then I accentuate details with a fine tip black marker. The same thing with homes, wooden buildings. And as for hill hexes, you can use, if you have 2 tones of brown, or 1 will suffice. It all depends on how much you want to spend and what is your affordability. The other medium that I used was acrylic paint. I would not recommend oil because I haven't tested oil on foam, but acrylic paint also works fine. It's a bit more tedious though, and it takes some time to dry. And the last step. Of course, the last step is to take all the painted cutouts that you've done and paste it onto your master board. And that's basically it. If you have any questions or comments, kindly post them below. Thanks for watching. And I appreciate all the views that I've had so far, and all the subscribers, and a special shout out to the itinerant hobbyists that subscribed to my channel, and I first subscribed to many moons ago. Keep on gaming, and wishing you everyone a happy summer. Take care.